Hi everybody, it's Mary coming to you from my crop room on this beautiful Sunday. It's still pretty cold out as it was yesterday. It was nice yesterday though. We got out on our snowshoes for the first time and it was really felt good. The sun was wicked warm and sitting there we took a little break on a bench at Moreau Park and sat there with the sun beaming down on us. Oh my gosh, it was just like heaven sitting there. We got a little workout but it felt good. We haven't been able to do it yet this year till now. So we had to take advantage of that nice day. So I hope you're all taking advantage of these nice days the best you can. If you can't, get in your crop room. So without further ado, I'm going to start us out with our February page map layout using Smitten paper pack. This was our, right here is our page map that I used. It looks like a fairly simple one, but I think it leads to your layout being, you can add more to it is what I want to say, and make it your own. This one is done with flowers. I totally did not use flowers. I used hearts because it's the month of love. So without further ado, I'm going to show you the layout. This is page 2. And this is a cute little cluster down here, that you can see up close with detail. And then on the other page, this is my title block down here. So I followed the pattern pretty well of the page map. Again, using hearts instead of flowers and the Smitten paper pack. I did feature a technique here, and if you look at the background paper, you'll see that it looks a little different than just plain old black paper. You must use a white core paper for this technique that I'm going to show you. It's actually sanded. It's sanding. And you take your paper, which I'm using a smaller block. I'm using black, which probably isn't a good idea on this mats here, but you'll see. It's black and it's white core, and by white core I mean look at the edge. See how the edge is white? That means it's white core. We also have a black that's a solid black, and the solid black one is really cool because it's a little thicker than this. This is thinner. This is like our regular cardstock, as you all know. So then you're going to take a sanding block. Now there's two kinds that I have. This one's from the hardware store and this one's from the pharmacy, CVS or Walgreens. These are nail sanding blocks, and this is a regular sanding block you would use on wood for finishing. Both work fine. As long as they're flat, you're good. So I'm going to use this one just because I already have black in it. And you just kind of go around like this in a circular motion, and I started in the corners. And then you move up onto your paper, and you're going to get random white designs in there, and that's the idea because it's going to look like a chalkboard. Make sure you get your edges good so you see that white edge. Probably would have looked better. Well, it is on pink, so you will see the edge a little bit. It would look better on a colored cardstock when you use it in the background than on a white piece, because you wouldn't see this unless you edged it with ink. Now, once you're done doing that, take a little piece of paper towel and just wipe it off, because see, there's black on it, black dust. You don't want that all over. And then kind of wipe your fingers off too, because that black's going to get on anything you touch. It's like the ink when you get the ink stuck to you. But see now, you can see the difference between the plain and the sanded. And it works with any color of cardstock. I would suggest the darker colors because that's where you're going to notice it the most rather than the lighter colors. But that's our technique this month, and I think it's a very effective one. Like, think about the school papers in the, I think there's one school paper in the, or a growing up papers in the main catalog. And so this would work really good for a school page for sure. Or any page like this. I liked it because it was a cool little technique to do for this. Anyway, so that's what I used, and I followed the background here. So you can see this has the rounded corners. So I took my 10 by 10, cut my black paper to 10 by 10, two pieces down to 10 by 10, and then I rounded the corners and I did the sanding technique. Next, I used a strip here. It can be any strip in your pack. I used the ones with the arrows, and it's 1 by 10, and it's placed 1 inch up from the edge of the black here. So it's 1 inch up and it's a 1 by 10. And see, I've got clusters there, so it isn't really going to matter if it's all 10 inches because you've got two clusters there that cover it. Next, I cut this piece here, which is 3 1/4 by 6 3/4. And I put my little photo mat, well, these two photo mats in first. And then I put this left space here from the glue so I could tuck this under there. So I would suggest putting your 2 photo mats on, and they're about 1/4 of an inch. Yep, 1/4 of an inch, give or take here, with extra space there. And then I put this strip down here. You could use a stamped strip if you wanted to here. That would be cool too, but I used a piece of pattern paper. And then I put my photo mat again, matching this one here. And then I just added clusters. Now, these are the cuts from these 2 stamp die sets. So I just randomly did them. But first I did this part here. I forgot to tell about this. Right here, the February stamp of the month. Or February months of the year stamp. I shouldn't say stamp of the month. I used this little one down here. The little like conversation heart one. It's open. It's an open stamp. And I started here. And I stamped across. First, before I did that though, I made a line. It's a very light pencil line in the middle there. And it was about, let's see here, about 1/4 of an inch up from the edge here. I did a little line with a pencil across here, and then I did another one down this way. And then I started here, and I stamped the line. I don't know how far it goes. Let's see, it goes to hugs. So where's hugs? Right here. That's the end of that stamp. It goes right to there. So then I just line my stamp up again, and I go to hugs right here. So that meant I had these 4 left to go here, and I didn't want to go all the way to the end. So what I did was I masked with a piece of, I kind of figured out from my stamp where it was going to end, and I masked those so the 4 would get stamped here, and then I would still have an edge. So another tip is sometimes here you might cut off a piece, and so you don't have it stamped. What I did was I took my water brush and my raspberry ink, and I smushed it down like this with my hands. Then you get a little puddle, well, not really a puddle, but you get this stuff up here. And then you can take your little water brush, and I'm just going to do it on my scratch paper, and you put your little water brush in there and pick up some of the ink, and then you can just simply go in and fill it in a little bit, just like that. It works great for skipped spots, and then just clean out your water brush like that. Another little tip I've done with my inks in my winter organizing, somewhat organizing, is I always had my sponges, you guys have probably seen them, with these little pieces of cut sponge, like this, with a clothespin. Well, I decided that was a mess. Every time I went to take an ink pad out, the darn things would fall out, and then when I wanted to find them, I could never find the sponge things. So I bought myself a few of these, and they're pretty cheap when they're on sale on scrapbook.com. And I bought a bunch of these. And you can get these at Hobby Lobby. You can get them online. I did get them online because there was a sale for them. And I put some Velcro, the hard part of the Velcro, I should say. I don't know which side. You can buy this separate, this one that's the smoother piece of that's got the knot, the soft side, not the sticky side, like the felty side. This is the felty side. So you can buy this stuff like this, and I just cut it off, and it's adhesive. And then I just stuck that there, and then I put these little guys right on there, like that. So now when I pull out this ink pad, all I need to do is get this, because I've got that to ink it with. And it's also on the bottom for a reason, because you don't want it where you have your ink pad. So your ink pad's here, and it's like that. And this is the bottom piece. So when you're stamping, you don't need to, you can stamp with the ink pad down on the table. So, and this doesn't, and even so it doesn't matter if you take that off, you can still have it flat. So it's up to you, however you like to do it. But I thought this was an ingenious idea to keep track of my sponges. That way they're not all over the place. And when I want to use one, I have to go siphon through the whole pile to find one. But it was a great idea, I thought, and it fits nicely in my little stamping pad holder back here. And voila, problem solved. No more sponges all over the place. But anyway, so that's what I did with that. And I stamped here. Same way. And then I actually masked off down here, and you can see I did repair that. You can see it up close. It's not perfect, but it certainly doesn't look weird like a big old gap. So that's what I did. And also on these, you can see I used those little tiny, I'll show you where they are. They're on the shaker ones, shaker heart set. I used the tiny little ones, and I also put stickles in the center of some of them. You can see I did it over here too. The stickles in the center. Alrighty, so that's these little pieces here. I cut the inside part of this, and then I had all these nice little rings, outside rings of the, or outside hearts to frame them, the little framing hearts. Those are really, really pretty with the glitter paper. If you cut some of those with the glitter paper, you'll be in love. I totally am in love when I cut them with glitter paper. They're beautiful, especially the red, the scarlet. Oh my gosh, it's to die for. Now, your title. I used Live, Laugh, Love. This is an oldie but goodie. This one, Live, Laugh, Love. And I used the love. This is actually a piece of one of the Slimline, the new Slimlines, a scalloped one. It's the inside piece from the die when you cut it. So I had it sitting around here on the table, and I said, I'll use that. So I used it, and first I stamped in black underneath on the white. And I said, that's kind of boring. That doesn't look too exciting. So then I decided, well, I'll stamp it on the raspberry. So I stamped it on the raspberry with the black, just regular black ink. And then I cut out the letters, and I laid it over the top. So I had my spacing correct by stamping it on. And it kind of looks cool because when you look at it, you can kind of see the black shows through a little bit on the edges, and it really gives it a nice effect. I put it on foam dot, the raspberries on foam dot, and then I accented a little bit with the stickles there too. Now the U is 2 stamps. It's this one, which is an old one. I'm sure a lot of us have this one. It was another stamp of the month, Adore You. I just used the U over here. And it did get cut off a little bit, but that's okay. It looks fine. You can't tell that it doesn't look weird. I used alcohol markers to color. And I used this here stamp to stamp first before I put the U in. And then I cut it out, fussy cut it, because there's no, it's a stamp of the month, there's no dies for it. So that was the title. So depending on what paper pack you're using, you can use a title. There's lots of single words that are nice in our stash that we can use all the time. So then I just, laid out my little placeholders and glued them down. And these are all flat. This one's raised. This is raised, and this is raised. The rest are all flat, just layered up on top of each other. And then I told you I use these little loose gems, they're called. They're really pretty little things, and you have to use glue or liquid glass to stick them down. But I like them. They're supposed to be for shaker cards, but they give a little bit of a, they're faceted, so they give a little bit of glitz, but they're subtle, and that's what I like about them, and they seem to go well with this paper. I did them there, and I did them over here too. You can see them. They're a little. And that's it. That's it for that page anyway. Page 1. Page 2. Same exact page. I used the same sketch for both pages. So same thing, second 10 by 10 sheet, just sand it up with the sanding block. The strip here is the same, 1 by 10, and it's 1 inch from the bottom. I followed ching, 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 the little photo mats. And then here in this cluster, I used the February stamp of the month, which is that cute little mousy. He's so dark cute. I love him to death. So I put him there, and I colored him with Copic markers also. And I put one of those little gems that I was showing you in the middle of that flower. And then, Oh Happy Day, that's also on that stamp set. I just stamped it, and I used embossing powder, black embossing powder with the Versamark ink, and to stamp that, and just, trimmed a little flag end. And that's this page. Very simple, but I added more hearts. And I just cut a bunch of them, put them in a pile there, and pulled them out as I needed them, or did them as I needed them, looked at it and decided which ones I wanted to do where. So you can see I did 2 hearts up here and I overlapped them. The only one that's raised is this one here. And I used the stitched heart from here. This one. That's that heart. And then this other one behind it is, which one is that? This one right here that lays over the top of it. So it's the single heart, and then it's got the little stitched heart on the top of it with the border. So that's how I did it, and it will work with anything. Now imagine this. Now, so I wanted to show you why I like using page maps. I made up another one with an older paper pack that I had that I really loved, and I had some scraps left, and I said, well, you don't need a whole lot of paper for this. So I made this one. I'm shedding things from it. I use glass beads in the middle of the flowers and they're shedding. Anyway, so it's exactly the same if you look. I mean, other than the color and the paper pack and the flowers, the clusters and everything are exactly the same as the other, but it does not look a bit like it. Like this is my one page, first page. Here's my title. Here's my cluster. Here's my title. Here's my cluster. Here's my extra little pieces. There. I did not put any up here because this title I kind of took more space with it. I went over into this piece on this one. I went into here. So it's kind of a bigger title. And I used a doily. That's a little bit of a... Priscilla might know where that came from, that doily. Let's just say that. Any of you that know what Priscilla does. So, anyway, that was that page. Now on this page, you can see how I did the same thing. So my cluster's over here. Flowers are here, rather than all around it. They're right here. And then up here is this. Now, this little guy here, he's kind of cute. I made him out of, he's an envelope. So you can put your hidden journaling, or you could tuck a little picture in there that you want to keep. Or you could put a picture here too if you'd like. But I used vellum that I had in my stash. And then this was a paper pack called Serenity. And I know a lot of you had it because it was such a beautiful pack. I had just a little bit left and I said, what the heck? And here, instead of stamping, I used stenciling. These are our stencils. These are the border stencils. There's some border stencils in the big catalog towards the end, in the year-long catalog. And so I've been slowly adding them to my little collection, and I wanted to get them out and use them. So I used that, and when I stenciled, I used my stencil brushes. I use these brushes when I stencil, and I of course get it in the ink, and I have my stencil down here taped, and I went lightly some places and darker in other places. So to do that, you just, light, and then light, and then go darker. Go get some more ink and go darker. So you can do it light and dark so you can get variations in the color. And that's another fun technique to do a border if you don't have stamps. So that's pretty much this month for the layout, and I hope you like it. Goes this way. Let's see here. Choop. Love you. February. And in March, we'll be using the beautiful, 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 my favorite, this one. Sweet as honey. Oh my heavens. Gorgeous, gorgeous paper pack. I can share with you the pack here. I've done so much stuff with this. I've ordered like 3 packages of it already. I've done cards, and I'll share them in another video though. This is one color. Here's one with a nice stripe. And then this lovely, lovely, lovely damask pattern. I love that damask pattern. It's my favorite. And I love the colors. That's Sundance. And then, oh, this one. This is so, so versatile. It's a fun little newsprinty kind of thing that refers to bees and honey and bee skeps and beeswax, and just kind of fun. And then this other side is hexagons, and oh, I love hexagons. And it's got the little honeycombs. It's really, really, really a super, super my kind of paper pack. So you can look forward to seeing a lot of stuff done with this one because I've been working with this already. And I will share with that in another video. So anyways, for now, take care, stay warm, and keep on cropping.